Hey guys, so I'm just gonna go through my updated VW deck list. A little bit different one, obviously in IRL. I was lucky enough to get my tripod and stuff sorted out, so with me try and do a little bit more IRL videos and that kind of thing. Over this past weekend, I actually went 5-0 with VW. I'm going to just go through my deck list. It's pre-Blazing Vortex because unfortunately South Africa hasn't received Blazing as yet. I think we're going to get that probably later this week, or it might be today, but yeah, it's actually only coming in like now. So as soon as I get that, I'm going to obviously do another update post, but it's not going to be quite that much drastic. Obviously the plays are different, but in terms of the deck list, it's going to be more or less the same. So yeah, just back to my results. I was quite happy about that. I went 5-0. I got absolutely trashed on Friday. Realized I needed to make some major adjustments to the deck, obviously to adjust to my locals, because I've been playing quite a bit online, and even though it's still South African players, but it's more a few players from practically each region. So that whole method became quite different to what I'm used to at my locals, so I needed to adjust. So not a hell of a lot of changes, but definitely impactful ones, and I'm quite a few I'm going to carry forward as well. Okay, so with most of the VW decks, I'm sure you've seen it's fairly standard. VW hasn't had like major changes. They more or less play kind of similar builds because you need as many names as possible. But one of the big ones that I realized, I mean, it's been dawning on me for a while, but over this weekend I realized is that Nyanyan, it really needed to go to 2. I needed to put it to 2 because as much as you need the play starters, you actually have, even with 2 Nyanyan, you have 8 normal summons in the deck. So you pretty much almost always have a normal summon available. If that is a Nyanyan, it basically limits your plays. So if you had GG, for example, you have the option to normal summon, but you also have the option of activating the effect. So I realized on Friday, I mean, I had, I think, 4 or 5 rounds where I literally just drew Nyanyan. And then, yeah, about 3 of those, it was like no combo with Nyanyan, which was quite disgusting. So I decided to drop 1 and change up the build a bit. Also realized that with my locals, I needed a bit more hand traps. It's not necessarily that there was more meta, but it's definitely that there's fairly good players playing, tier 2 or rogue decks where you kind of need the nib to drop and obviously clear the field and that kind of thing. So so I made those adjustments. I'm gonna go through that in a bit, and yeah, we'll take it from there. So first off, obviously we have 3 Lulu. Nothing special to speak about it. Obviously Lulu is the best card in the deck. You need to play it at 3. We have 3 times Lao Lao. Probably second best card in the deck. Really good at getting into the 9s and that kind of thing and making XYZ plays, etc. So all good there. So like I said, 2 times Nyanyan, just for consistency reasons. I was sitting on the fence simply because if you desires, you can quite easily banish 2, and then sometimes, like if you have a bad desires, you need the Nyanyan to shuffle something back, and if you don't have access to it, you can end up in a lock situation. So that's why I was thinking of running the 3rd, but in fact I think it might be better that I play the 2, and if that comes up, it's going to be very rare anyway, so it should be fine. Okay, then we have 3 times Lily, standard, 3 times GG, standard. Okay, and then The rest of the monsters is actually only hand trap. So I went 3 times nub. The pretty much the entire meta is trying to play around nub. And my thinking was that it was actually quite weak because people are trying to play around it anyway, which is legit if you're going up against a lot of meta. If you're going up against dry and a bunch of VW, a bunch of dinos, that kind of thing, nub is fairly useless. But if your field is a little bit more diverse, I feel like you actually need the nub in. And this was actually one of the MVPs for Saturday. It actually came in very, very clutch a number of times, and pretty much won me a few games. So definitely 3 nubs. 3 times Ash, obviously offensive and defensive, super generic, best hand trap. And then your Gamma package. I'm definitely going to keep the Gammas in, especially moving forward with Blazing Vortex, because obviously it's a psychic that you can discard for 2/2, so yeah. Okay, cool. Then into the spells, we have 3 times Klinglong, standard, 3 times Kowloon. In fact, over this weekend, I actually activated the third effect of Kowloon. So if you guys don't know, if you have 4+ virtual gates face up, Kowloon on resolution can actually special summon as many virtual world extra deck monsters for free. Well, not as many, I think it's 4, yeah. So it's up to 4 extra deck monsters, virtual world extra deck monsters for free. Weirdly enough, I bricked so hard that I had double Chuche, 1 Klinglong, and double Kowloon. So I set a Chuche, activated a face up Chuche with Kowloon, activated the Klinglong, and then next I stalled for that turn. I did a bunch of stuff and I stalled, and then next turn I activated the second Kowloon, and then yeah, I had Fan, Juju, and Shen on the field for free, which was absolutely awesome. So I mean, we think that these effects actually don't come up, but they really do. And I've seen a lot of players forget that they to apply the effects, especially the 200 attack. I mean, I'm a culprit of that. I also forget to apply it, but definitely watch out for this. This literally, if I'm not mistaken, won me that game. So yeah, comes up. 3 times Desires. I'm still playing Desires. I don't have Prosperity. If I get Prosperity, I'll probably play it instead, or maybe 2 and 2 or 3 and 1. I'm not really sure, but yeah, Prosperity is really good. 1 times Teleport, obviously. 1 times Call By, because you need the protection. I'd rather have it in the main and have the protection going first, and obviously it's utility, so that's good. 1 times Triple Tactics. I only actually have 1 tactic, so make the most of what we have. I'm playing 1. In my opinion, Tactics is not the best in this deck, but having 1 feels like a fair ratio. It's okay. It doesn't break you that much, and if I draw it, more than 60% it's live. So yeah, so I'm quite happy with the 1. 2 times Foolish Goods. Easy play starter. 3 times Chuche. So in the main deck, obviously the main difference was the Nyan, and then I put in the nubs. I actually had Kaijus in the main, which is really good against dry. As much as, yes, vanities is a thing, but if you're playing VW, you can either negate it or you can pop it with Chuche, or you have a few options in the main deck. So after you do that, you can just Kaiju the other monster. If it's VW, you can Kaiju the Calamities and stuff if they don't know what you're playing. If it's Dino, Kaiju is basically your saving grace there. So there's quite a few high tier decks that Kaiju is a lot better. But just considering my local spread, I think Nub was the better choice. So I actually dropped that to the side and then put the Nubs in. yeah, and the other thing is that I'm playing 41. I know it's disgusting, but I actually couldn't think of anything I wanted to drop. Probably the tactics, but I mean, I just kept it in. And I mean, my teammate Rulof. Shout out to the team, by the way, Team Flex Gaming. So it's Rulof, myself, Dan, and Pranav. Pranav is obviously the OG. Yeah, Rulof has been going on about the fact that it's only 1% difference if it's 41. I kind of believe him. He put up a good argument on that. So I'm not feeling too bad about playing 41, but I'll probably try and squeeze out that other card. Let me see. Okay, then extra deck. Let's start with the synchros. So sixes, we have Juju, Charge Warrior. Oops, that's not a 6. Am I playing anything else? I'm actually not. So I'm actually just playing 2. And this is the thinking behind it. Obviously, the third one is generally Coral Dragon. But if you think about Coral Dragon, you need probably like 2 non-tuner level 3s and a tuner level 3. So basically you synchro with these, you make the coral, and maybe you pop a card, and then you synchro again into maybe Croc or anything else, and you get your draw. But if you have 1 tuner and 2 non-tuners on field, you can just make Croc and draw 2. So literally just doing that saved me 1 extra deck space. I lose the pop, but arguably Juju is a better removal option. So I'd rather go into Juju and play from there. Maybe increase the other 3's level and XYZ or something. So yeah, that's why I dropped the coral. I think I might have explained that in my past video as well. But yeah, so 2 level 6s, synchros, and then 9s. Obviously the Cloud Castle, the Croc, the Chao Feng, the Vermilion, and your Shen. Vermilion, obviously MVP, you have to play it. It's literally combo piece, removal, it's everything you could possibly need in a card. Shen is just devastating it against so many decks. And this is the thing, like I've seen a lot of people just combo and then they make Croc so they can draw the card, which is good. But you also need to think about your matchup. If you're going up against like a very grindy matchup, you want to make Shen so that you can bring it back and then you have a target. You can bring it, it's basically a free body on field. You can feed Chuche with it. So depending on your matchup, like if you don't need to make Vermilion, for example, or Chao Feng, which is like combo pieces, then you are probably deciding between these 2. And then yes, the draw is nice, but I generally go for the draw when I have everything, which is weird. Or if I'm in a tough situation, I would usually make Shen and then play from there, and then I have a Shen play for next turn. So yeah, Cloud. I was actually playing 2 Clouds until recently. I don't think anyone knows that because I never played the second one. It just didn't come up for the last couple of weeks. But I've been trying to test a second Cloud because if you think about it, if someone interrupts you with the Cloud, which like Bell and stuff is quite prominent at the moment, then you can't go double VFD then the next turn. Or let's say you're in a tough situation, you do the Vermilion combo, and then you make Cloud, and then you make VFD. Sometimes the next turn you can play, you get interrupted, and you can make a 9, which can be another Cloud, and then you can make another VFD. So and just having Cloud up sometimes is quite good. So I actually think I'm gonna play 2 Cloud. I just need to figure out like what I'm gonna move around, which I have an idea, but for now I said okay, I'm just gonna play it safe. I'll play 1 Cloud, and I'll play more variety. So yeah. Okay, so that's 9s. Then we get into extra deck, XYZs. So I only play 1 rank 3, which is Break Sword. So I know a lot of guys play the direct attacker. They play I forgot his name, the VW one for removal. So there's definitely a bunch of options in the rank 3 space, but you usually don't want to make a rank 3. The only time you will make a rank 3 is if you have 2 tuners on field, and if you and that only comes up if you're in a very awkward position, or if you didn't really think about your moves going forward. Like, you know the Nyanyan's gonna come back, so why leave a tuner on field? Like, there are ways to play around these things and to limit, the amount of wastage that you have. And generally the double rank 3 is I got interrupted, I'm in an awkward position, and I have wastage. I have extra tuners on field that I didn't need, and then you make a rank 3. Even like number 75 as well. It's a really good negate, but would you rather have this, or would you rather have another 9, which you can easily make if you kind of like thought your way through your plays a little bit more. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm missing something, but for the most part I barely make this, and if I make it, I barely even use this effect. I like make him attack, and then I go straight into Zeus. A hell of a lot of the time. If I'm making him and I'm using his effect, it's because that's the last obstacle that's still on the field, and I'm trying to pop it and go. So yeah, so I only play one level rank 3. I play a few rank 6s, so beyond. This is my Dragoon out. It works very, very well. It's pretty much a free make it 0, and then you run over it, you do the 3000 damage, and then you basically just overlay Charge Warrior over that, and then you go Zeus, and that's like a double Zeus straight up. So I think that's like really, really strong. Fan, I've seen people not play Fan. Like, I don't think I'm missing anything there. I think that's just a silly thing to do, because Fan is Ice Dragon's Prison. I mean, Ice Dragon's Prison is like $55 or something at the moment. I mean, it's ridiculously good. It's a ridiculously good card, and now you have access to Ice Dragon's Prison in combo. It doesn't make sense. So I mean, like, Fan is very, very broken. You definitely need to play that. Obviously the Charge Warrior comes up, and he's rank 7, and then we have M7. I didn't have this in the deck. This was my second Cloud Castle spot. I put this back in simply because I realized even with Vermilion you can recycle your hand traps. So your Ashes, and if you're playing, if you shuffled your driver back in, you can recycle your Gamma. You can do a bunch of those things. So M7 can do the exact same thing. Initially I was thinking, I'll make M7, and then I send a PW that I didn't use yet to the graveyard, maybe Lulu or something, and then bounce it back to my hand, and then I'll have combo. But then I realized, okay, but then I have an XYZ on field, like I can't synchro with that. It doesn't make sense. It seems like a waste of resources. But what this definitely does do is, if you draw Droll, for example, you Droll your opponent, stun them for the turn, you make M7, you add the Droll back to your hand, attack, make Zeus, and then you got another Droll. So I think that's actually the main reason why this should be played, and I think it's actually really strong for that reason. It didn't come up over this weekend, but I definitely foresee this like having a big part going forward. Yeah. Cool. Okay, then we have obviously double VFD and Zaus. Power cards, basically boss monsters. Not much to explain there. Just keep in mind, if you're someone that hasn't been playing VW for very long, this is a thing. This is really a thing. You can, especially with if you have Shen in the graveyard, and this is why I put Shen in the graveyard so often. If you banish these two, or they are banished, he's banished or whatever, with Shen, you can shuffle VFD back, eh? And you can make another VFD. So really, if anyone's thinking about playing 3 VFDs, you only need 2, because you can recycle them. But yeah, cool. Okay, and then side deck is probably where like most of the spice is. We're gonna cover that one later. We have a 2-time Skullmeister. I'd like to play 3. I'm just stuck. Oops. There we go. 2-time Skullmeister. I'd like to play 3. I only have space for 2. So yeah. 2-time Kaiju. Really good. For all the reasons that I said earlier. Kaijus are like really strong at the moment. And in fact, the Kaijus won me 1 game against the Dragon Turbo, and I'll get into my matches in a minute, but basically it literally won me a game, and it's won me quite a few games with BW fairly recently, so I definitely wanted to keep them around. We have 3 times Droll. You need to play Droll. If you're not playing Droll, Drytron is going to run over you very, very badly, so Droll, 2 times Lancia, mainly for Dino, Mirror Match maybe, a bunch of other applications for this. 2 times Cyclone, so I was playing Twisters. I put the Cyclones in because Cyclone hits a few cards very nichely that Twister doesn't. Ideally you want the quick play Destruction, so that at least this is congruent, which makes it a little bit better than Duster in a way. But like a good example, something I've been thinking about for Mischief of the Gnomes. So if someone's siding Mischief of the Gnomes, they might side 3 if they're not playing the Beatrice play. And if they side 3, you can in-chain banish it so that they can't use it again. So I think Cyclones, especially in BW, probably the better option. 1 times Duster, easy. 1 times Reboot, broken. I really think this should go to 3, but anyway. And then my spice was Gnome. So for those who don't know, I've been playing for like 15 years or so, but I had like a 5-year gap, and in that 5-year gap was the BA saga, let's put it that way. So I didn't really know what BA did. I kind of knew, but I didn't really understand how the deck functioned. And I've been trying to figure out, because obviously Eric has been playing the deck, I've been trying to figure out like what is the weak point, how does it work. And then when I realized, I said, okay, yeah, you just play Nib, because they definitely go over 5 summons. But the other option is actually having no material. So no material not only hits like BA, it definitely does hit BW. It hits Drytron if you preempt the Union Carrier. It hits Adams. It hits a lot of decks. So it's obviously wastage in terms of, you know, drawing it later game. But if you can just stall that combo for like a turn with VW, if you have 2 VWs in a hand or something and you stall that combo, even Dragon Link to a certain degree, Gnome is good. So I'll put the 2 Gnomes in. Gnome actually won me one game pretty much. So yeah. Okay, so getting into the matchups, like I said, it was a 5-rounder. Round 1, I went up against Cyber Dragon. I won 2-0 there. That was Rowan, who's an up-and-coming duelist. So yeah. Then game 2, I went up against Eric with his pure Burning Abyss, which I think is pure. I'm not really sure what his build looks like. I went 2-1. That went fairly to the wire. I think we had like 2-3 minutes left on the clock. I think game 1 he won. Game 2 I took it. I drew basically 3 hand traps and combo. So there wasn't much that could be done. And then game 3 was quite a good one, because basically he gnomed me, Mischief of the Gnomes, in chain. So basically when chaining 1, Gigi, he ashed to chaining 2 ash, chaining 3 Gamma, chaining 4 Gnome. So, and then the driver was in deck. So if you really think about that, this is basically what happened. Gigi hit field at level 2, Gamma hit field at level 1, and then driver hit field from deck at level 6. So that's level 9. So I just synchroned into Shenshin and I continued from there. So I was quite lucky with that, but that was the round where I used the gnome. He normal summoned Rhino, special summoned another BA. I responded with gnome on the Rhino, and that ended his turn. So yeah. And actually, versus Eric was when I used the Kowloon effect and special summoned the extra deck monsters. So yeah, quite good. Then round 3, I went up against Byron. Byron was playing Adamant's Beta Prank. Unfortunately for him, I went 2-0. To be honest, that was the deck that I was the most scared of. Simply because I know Byron's probably one of the best players in Gauteng. I mean, he was dominating last year. Most of the tournaments he entered, he won. So very good player. But also the deck itself just keeps going. It's so difficult to stop. So I was lucky enough. I think my ratios were really good, so I ended up drawing like 2+ hand traps in both games. I think it was 2 exactly. It was Nib in both, and I think it was Gamma in both, or it was Ash and then Gamma. Game 1, he went combo. I held off. I actually held off like kind of sillily, because I completely forgot about Guardian. So I'm seeing him doing the combos, and I'm like, oh, okay, 1 Adamant name done, 2 done, 3 done. But then I'm missing the fact that he could easily hit a Guardian, and then I have a problem, which I could have still kind of played through, because I had the Ash, so I can easily try and Ash something else, and then he'll chain, and then I can nib. But he seemed like he did have a playthrough, and lucky for me, he didn't hit the Guardian. So on his 4th monster, so he basically went 2 monsters. I think it was 1 Adamant's Beta into Goki, and then hit another Adamant's Beta, activated that. Hit another Adamant's Beta, then went into Synchro, activated that. So he was always more or less on 3 monsters. Then when he hit the 4th one, I was like, okay, maybe Appaloosa might hit field, so I nubbed. He kind of tried to play through, but I believe he dropped his Dragoon from that deck, so I ended up with 2 monsters, and then I couldn't really do much. Game 2 almost went similarly. He didn't go combo. What happened is he started his combo. He had playthrough, but unfortunately I had Gamma, so he didn't get the effect, and he lost the body, which was a big F, So I was lucky enough that I took that 2-0. I drew fairly well. I drew combo and I drew hand traps, and yeah, that went well for me. Then that was game 3, or round 3, sorry. Round 4, I went up against Dark Magician Dragoon Turbo, which I went 2-0, but I must say I did struggle against that deck a bit. Just because they can put up Dragoon pretty much every single turn, and then you need to out it again, and there's only so many options I have to out. Lucky for me, I was able to have enough resources to make that work, but definitely I didn't understand the deck. I fell ran into a few not traps, but I ran into a few obstacles. The non-targeting banish that the Dark Magician deck does, I ran into that a few times and so on. So that game 1 was quite messy, but I ended up taking it. Game 2 was a lot more decisive. I drew Ash Kaiju. He went into Red Eyes Fusion, put the Dragon on field, set 2, I think. I didn't Ash the Red Eyes Fusion on purpose because I had the Kaiju. I said I'll keep that for later. And so happened it came up exactly the way I needed it. I Kaiju'd the Dragoon, went combo, he activated to, I think he fusion summoned, and then I think when he goes to grave it does something. To be honest, I'm a bit fuzzy on that match, but I was able to Ash something, and that was basically the last defense he had, and then I went full combo from there. So that was good. And then last round I played Andrew Tan. Andrew Tan is a pretty good Julius overall. I think he's definitely like a kind of an up and comer, but he knows his stuff. Plays zombie, pure zombie, which I mean Zombie has the ability to lock down your deck. It has really good tools and stuff, but it does have a few pieces missing in terms of starting up the combo and so on. But he plays it very, very well. So, I mean, I went 2-0, but game 1, he rivalry locked me in combo, which was rough. Luckily enough, I was able to put the Klinglong in the graveyard, and I continued through that. He didn't have the Zombie World up, which is the reason why I was able to play. And then, yeah, so I took that one, that game. And then game 2, I sided in back row, was able to like destroy a few things, and I comboed off. I drew hand traps again, so I was able to shut him down. Yeah. So overall, I think I went 2-0 for most of my games. I lost one round to Eric, but other than that, it was a fantastic run overall. It went really, really well. It proved a lot of my theories that definitely I needed to be closer to the 9 hand trap range. I definitely needed to cut that Nyan Nyan. It's just my extra deck. I'm not super sure about. Maybe the M7 might drop. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's the video, guys. Thanks for watching, and keep tuned for the next few. I'm gonna be doing another video on actually my teammate, the one I spoke about earlier, Pranav. To be honest, he's who I would believe is the best player in the country at the moment, just because he's so consistent. He's my teammate, so I feel quite privileged that I play with him and test with him fairly often. Man's really, really good. So he actually entered an EDO tournament recently. I was able to spectate, and I'm gonna maybe just go through some of these matches. Just my perspective. I didn't really talk to him about like his decision making, but we're just gonna see like how he made some decisions. He made some really good plays in that tournament, and yeah, I think it'll be nice to have something different, not me centric, but definitely something for the team as well. Yeah, so like, subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Cool.